I've just now been informed that we are ready to get straight underway with the Undertale neutral run. So, without further ado, I will hand you over to our runner and commentator to introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about what we're going to be seeing here. So, yeah, thanks so much for joining us. And yeah, why don't you tell us what's going to be happening in this showcase?
Right. Yeah. Hi, I'm Dirtd12. I will be running Undertale's neutral category today. There's a lot of glitch and non-glitch action going on in the game. I'm excited to showcase this game and its awesome community.
Hello, I'm Marvin the Chess Guy. I also speedrun this game. Great game, by the way. Both to speedrun and to play casually. And when you think about it, in the grand scheme of things, I'm almost as good as Dirtd at speedrunning this game. Very happy to be here. Thanks for the opportunity.
So I'm ready to get started whenever.
Right, thanks so much both for joining us. If one of you would like to give a countdown for when the run's going to start to indicate for our timers on screen, and then just get on with it, yeah.
So, perfect. Sure. So time is going to start when Dirtd hits the yes button on the name selection screen. So, right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
And we're off.
Okay. We are off. So
oh.
sorry.
My mouse was on screen.
No worries. Oh yeah, the mouse on screen is a staple of Undertale speedrunning. So the first few rooms of the game, and generally most of the runs section, are relatively calm in terms of everything that we do. We are just going to be, as you can see, mashing text from different characters. And oh, damn it, I can't believe Chloe attacked you. The first few rooms are just moving from one end of the room to the other and having to mash away the text from the characters. Do you want me to explain exactly how mashing comes?
I think I can explain it. So when it comes to mashing in Undertale, there are kind of like two schools of thought. So you either have random mashing or piano mashing. So in Undertale, if you press X or Shift, that completes the text box, and Z and Enter advance it to the next text box. So you can either spam all 4 buttons and kind of just do it like that. That's not great for your wrists, admittedly. Or you can do what I'm doing, which is mash them in sequence. So what I'm doing is mashing Z, X, Enter, Shift, and by doing that fast enough, you can progress through the text box very quickly.
You will notice here that Dirtd flees from the encounter with First Forget. Basically, virtually every time in this run that we get an encounter with a monster, we run away. And the reason why we're actually able to do that is because there's something that the game never talks about, which is that the armor that you spawn with, so the bandage, lets you flee from encounters with a 100% success rate. The game never tells you about any of that, and it just lets you unknowingly equip another piece of armor and sacrifice your ability to run away. But yeah, that's why, there's going to be a lot of that in runs, by the way. There's quite a big RNG segment at the very beginning of the run, actually, because there's a lot of rooms where you can get an encounter, but it's not guaranteed, right? And obviously we don't want encounters because that takes time to run away from them. For example, this is the first room where we might get one, but it's not guaranteed, and we got lucky. So there's gonna be a few rooms, especially I'm almost entirely in runes. Toby Fox decided to calm down with, and this is a unlucky second encounter here, but yeah.
One thing that I'd like to explain real quick is with the encounters, so here we're guaranteed to get an encounter. We're hoping for a Whimsun, didn't get one. If you get a Whimsun, it is faster to kill the Whimsun, as there is a cutscene right at the end of Ruins with Flowey, where if you kill Whimsun, it shortens the cutscene and saves about like 2-ish seconds over getting a Frogget.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we didn't get any Whimsun kill here, but it's really not that big.
We did get Rock Skip though. That is an RNG strat. If you get an encounter in just the right spot, you can move over to the rock while the encounter screen is going up and skip the cutscene there.
And that's it for the Napstablook fight. No. The meaning here is relatively simple, but it can be very punishing if you miss the option. I think if you pick the wrong option on the last turn, you lose like 2 minutes, which is really weird. But yeah, we just cheer on Napstablook the whole time. They will now ask for our opinion on this very cool hat, and it is a cool hat, so let's just cheer on them again. And they will let us
just like that, it's over.
Yep. Actually, that's the first real fight of the run. It's not a very hard one though. And
Now this section is a bit of an RNG gauntlet. Every single one of these runs has a chance to get an unnecessary encounter, each of which wastes about 3 to 4 seconds, I believe.
yeah, sounds about right. Sounds about right.
Yeah, like
and
that encounter is pure luck. There's nothing I can do to avoid it. It's just chance whether I get it or not.
And it's super cool because it will always happen near the very end of the room if it happens at all. Here, by the way, there's a little puzzle section where you're supposed to figure out which switch to pull. Don't tell anyone, but Dirtd already knows the which switch to pull. Here we ignore everything on the right because there's not much, and just hook up tutorial.
Which would probably be a good time to read any donations if there are any.
Yeah.
Right, thank you. I'd just like to take a moment to remind everyone that we have a bid war open to choose the character for the Mario Kart World speedrun that's going to be coming up after this. So you can write in and select if you want to put your money towards this bid war, nominate a character that Retrisma can use for that Mario Kart World playthrough. Stating as well that if you pick Bowser, they're going to suffer. So yeah, write in, let us know what character you would like to see for the Mario Kart World speedrun. Be nice to get some donations in towards that. Thank you.
Yep. So we're coming up on the tutorial fight, which, we had a little bit of RNG with the encounters, now we're going to have a lot of RNG. You just need to spare Toriel repeatedly, and then, between every spare, she attacks you. And if she gives you a hand attack, it's super fast, like this one. You can just run into the hand, take damage, and that instantly ends the attack. And wow, that's some very good RNG actually. You got 4 hand attacks in a row. Like each hand attack is like a 40% chance. And yeah, that was pretty lucky. So the optimal fight would have up to 9 hands, which would mean like getting all hands from now on, but yeah, Toriel is by far the biggest RNG check, at least of this particular category. But
each hand you get saves approximately, I believe it's around 5 seconds, and it is completely up to chance.
Yeah. Luckily for us, that's also almost all the RNG in this run will be at the beginning, luckily. So, it makes it still possible to run. This is actually pretty good runs, by the way.
Yeah. So this will be leaving at about like I want to say probably like sometime around a 7:20, I think.
That sounds about right, yeah. By the way, here Toriel has unmatchable text, so you cannot press X or Shift to make it advance further. You just have to press 0 enter as soon as the text reaches the end. Right. So it's a very emotional moment, where Toriel, says goodbye to you and lets you onwards. Very emotional. So we mashed through it as fast as possible.
One thing that is worth noting here is normally the ruins would be a faster segment. However, there is a trick at the beginning of the run that is wildly inconsistent, and to miss it would mean to softlock, known as TAS, which saves about 25 seconds. And whilst you could go for it, it's not really necessary to get a good time, and it is a massive run killer right at the beginning of the run.
It's absolutely not a good idea to do that in a marathon. By the way, this cutscene with Flurry right here would have been shorter if we had at least killed one monster. Because here, Flurry makes fun of you, but he does it faster if you kill the monster. What's the name of this game again? Undertale, that's right, I keep forgetting. Great game by Toby Fox, that's the name of the guy. Okay, so now we're out of the ruins. And time for a very long segment, well, not that long actually, a pretty long segment of holding rights here.
There is this strat here called Game of Pixel that I still do not know how to do. And I
do
know
you
for a
not?
fact, no, I don't know how to do it. There will be people in the Undertale community screaming at me for not knowing how to do it, but it's too late.
It's 4 frames, that's huge.
Basically, if you move in a particular way at the bridge where you meet the Sans cutscene, you can go up slightly and it saves 4 frames for some reason. I'm not exactly sure why it saves 4 frames.
You just lost 4 frames. It's because if you're higher up, your movement for the next cutscene will be slightly faster. Anyway, here we meet a character that you may have heard of even if you've never played this game before. Sans Undertale from the hit game Undertale. who's gonna say hi to you, and you can just walk through the gate. By the way, the bars are too wide. So here there's a pretty long section where we meet the Skeleton Bros, Sans and Papyrus. Great characters, by the way. As you might already have noticed, there's a lot of text and dialogue in Snowdin. So it's probably the most, it is the most mashing heavy segment of the run. So here, Toriel, she leaves you at 2 HP, so you interact with the save point to heal. Interacting with a save point always set your health back to full, so that's cool. And you might also have noticed that Dirtd went to a box, picked up the Tough Glove, which is a weapon, and equipped it. We don't actually do that to use the Tough Glove. We do it because equipping the Tough Glove lets you unequip the stick, which is the weapon that you spawn with. And you actually have to encounter a few dogs in Snowdin, and using the stick on them just lets you spare them instantly. Because, the dogs are like, I'm going to kill you, and then you pull out a stick, and they're like, stick! And you destroy them, and then you can just spare them. For example, here, Dirtd just used a stick on Doggo, which lets him spare it instantly.
Otherwise, you'd have to do some menuing, which would end up taking longer, as you'd have to deal with multiple attacks. And each extra attack you have to deal with universally loses about 8 to 10 seconds.
Yeah. Here, it's very hard. There's a maze with invisible walls. I have no idea how you're gonna be able to know what the way to the end is.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I did just get hit. So you can actually take that really aggressively and move quite far outside the boundary. However, you do run the risk of getting zapped and losing maybe a second or two, unfortunately.
Yeah. That is all. How could you ignore the crossword puzzle here?
Now, there is a strat that I'm purposely not opting to go for here, known as Dog Eye Minute. Basically, there is a way to manipulate when you get the encounter in this room, so that you get it on the same frame that you activate the cutscene for the dog marriage fight. And you can manipulate the RNG to do it, however, the time saved from it is very RNG and it's very inconsistent to do in runs.
Yeah.
And so you would be skipping this boss fight. It saves up to 7 seconds.
Excellent song here, by the way. So same shot as before, we're gonna use the stick. Oh no, we got the slower attack from them, which loses about a second. It's fine. And just spare the dogs, and you never encounter them again, unless you go, I guess, at Great Beast, but we don't. A very hard puzzle here, you have to press the crosses and then press the button. Surely this is setting up for a harder puzzle, right? Except that this tree right here, there's a hidden switch in it, which you can just use to solve the puzzle for you. Because solving puzzles is hard, and we are not very good at the game, again, as I said. So, yeah, that just solves the puzzle for you. Here, normally, there's the color tile puzzles, where Papyrus turns those green squares into different color squares, and you have to solve the puzzle and move through it. However, if you just say no repeatedly when Papyrus asks if you understood the instructions, if you keep saying no, I don't understand, he just says, okay, you know what, I'm gonna let you through.
Now we have the ice puzzle here. So by going down at the start of the room, you can actually manipulate your subpixels to skip the cutscene at the end where the bridge forms in. And so by doing the solution like this, without that subpixel manipulation at the beginning, I wouldn't be able to just hold down right at the last one. But with that, you can save a good few seconds over not going for it.
It's actually the first glitch we do in this run, right? Because we didn't do the one in runs.
Yeah, that is the first
There's gonna
glitch.
be a lot more. Okay, so here we fight this greater dog. We're gonna hope that we get the dog attack, which basically works in the same way as Toriel's hands. We did not.
So that loses about 3 seconds over getting the dog attack.
Right. That sounds about right.
Yeah. Now we've got quite a long cutscene coming up.
Yeah, probably the single longest. Oh, by the way, you see that Dirtd just opened the menu very quickly here. To menu down in the menu to the cell option, to the cell phone option. Anyway, shout out to the dog in the top right, who seems to be having quite a good time here as part of this gauntlet of daily terror, I think is how it's called. But then Papyrus decides that it's actually not very honorable to beat you like that, and he just forgets about it. Right.
And with that, we conclude Enter Snowden, the Enter Snowden split.
Yeah. That's. I'm just looking at the timer, but yeah. By the way, the sign "Welcome to Snowden" here. I think for whatever reason, killing a boss like 20 minutes later would make that sign disappear because this game is held together by hopes and dreams. We have the Papyrus fight coming up. No, Papyrus is so hard. Speedrunners struggle to even dodge the easiest attacks. So yeah.
So essentially, in this fight, the easiest way to get through it, or the fastest way to get through it as well, is I'm gonna throw the stick multiple times at the start, so that Papyrus doesn't activate special attack, and I'm just gonna take damage all the way down to 1 HP. Because if I do that 3 times, it will actually end up, Papyrus will give up and say, "You don't want to fight me, do you?" And then he just lets you go. So
Yeah.
this segment is arguably one of the more tedious portions of the game. However, from beyond this point is where the run really starts to pick up speed and get interesting.
Pretty much. Yeah, we have to lose to Papyrus 3 times. We don't die because you know, Papyrus is the only character that like cannot kill you. Toriel tries not to kill you, but under some very specific circumstances she can kill you on accident. Papyrus straight up is incapable of killing you, which is very nice of him. So here, you will notice that Dirtd12 is blue now. That's because the game just assumes that we do the special attack that turns us blue. But even though we never actually saw that. Yeah, and by the way, the reason why Dirtd12 was using the stick is because any other action would have caused the, well, Papyrus to turn him blue. Yeah.
Alright, we've got nothing going on for a bit, so if there's anything you want to say.
Thank you. Yeah, we've had a couple of anonymous donations come through. We've had a $2 anonymous donation come through that says Yoshi, and that's nominating Yoshi for the Mario Kart World character choice. And another $2 anonymous donation come through that says Moo, and that's nominating the cow for the Mario Kart World character choice. Can you believe it? So yeah, write into us who your favorite character in Mario Kart World is. Let us know. If there's anyone you want to see for that showcase, that'll be great. Do either of you two, have you played Mario Kart World or Mario Kart in general? Got a shout out that you'd like to represent for the Mario Kart World run, perhaps?
I haven't had a chance to see Mario Kart World yet, unfortunately.
I've played some of the older Mario Kart games. I think Yoshi is a solid choice.
Nice, yeah. Big Yoshi fan myself as well. We've also just had a $5 anonymous donation come through that says Goomba Jump Scare, and that's $5 towards the Goomba as well. So we've got a few options on the board now. Goomba, Cow, and Yoshi for the Mario Kart World Time Trials character choice.
Alright, so coming up here... Oh, so we have the end of the boss fight here. Papyrus will give us the option to fight him again. We're going to pick no, because otherwise we'd be losing a lot of time. And so now that concludes the fight. Yeah.
Mismenuing here causes you to fight Papyrus again, and that loses by a minute. It has never happened to me except that one time that it did, but that's okay. I've gotten over it since. And that's it. We're done with Snowden. So we're entering a waterfall, which is a place with a lot of water, and as you can see, it is falling. Toby Fox is really great at names.
And so coming up, we have the first major skip of the run. It is called Seagrass Skip, and this is the whole reason why I menued down to Cell earlier. So by opening the cell phone right before the Undyne cutscene trigger, we are able to just skip the entire cutscene.
Yeah. So here Papyrus is like, "Hey Undyne, I captured the human, except I ended up letting them through." And Undyne is angry, and then...
There we go, and now we have skipped the cutscene.
Normally you wouldn't be able to move here. You would have to look at Undyne being like threatening and everything. But instead you just leave before she gets a chance to do her, threatening pose and whatnot. By the way, the song that you're hearing right now, doing the glitch is the only way to hear that song in full. Toby Fox made a song that's like 2 minutes long for Undyne, but then you can only hear like the first 30 seconds unless you do a glitch. You will see here that while waiting for the flowers to bloom, he dropped the stick, because we're gonna pick up an item in a bit, and we want that item to be in the first slot of our inventory, so it's easiest to just get rid of everything else. We also notice, again, we are just running away from every encounter. Here, in this room, there's like a lot of lore about the war between humans and monsters. That loses time, so we just move on. onto the Undyne Spears chase sequence, the first one.
This segment is like, in a casual playthrough, it can be pretty scary, but once you kind of get the gist of it, it's pretty trivial. You need to slow down a little bit here and there, otherwise you will get hit by the spears on the pathing. But other than that, there's not really any risk to this segment. And even if you do get hit, it's maybe 1 to 2 seconds at most, realistically. And we got good RNG here, so I didn't have to slow down at the end there at all.
Yeah. That was
And now we're coming up on where the run really begins. We get the punch card, which is the item that is the single most broken item in all of Undertale. It is what makes the speedrun as we know it possible.
Absolutely. Essentially, so to explain the punch card really fast, you can open the punch card, which shows you the punch card on screen, and then closing it will mess with your movements in ways that are not really accounted for by the way the game is made. Basically, essentially it allows us to regain movement when we're not supposed to. So for example, let's say that there's a character that is supposed to show up and talk to you for super long. You can use the punch card to just move past that character. And so I think that combined there's like 20 seconds of time there's 20 minutes of time save throughout the run in here. So we're gonna go in this room right here, talk to that guy, buy an ice cream from him, and he gives us a punch card. Normally, the idea being that if you get 3 punch cards, he gives you a free ice cream, but instead, we're gonna use it to break reality.
Oh.
So what Dirtd tried to do here is a room warp. Essentially, normally, when you enter a room, right, you're gonna appear at the very beginning of that room, right? But you can use the punch card to do what's called a room warp, essentially entering the room, but instead of being at the beginning of that room, you're gonna appear at the quote-unquote default point. And the default point is just arbitrarily set for every room. And it can oftentimes be much closer to the end than if you had not done the room warp. So here,
you can also
we
skip
skip
cutscenes like we just did here. So by opening the punch card on the pixel of a cutscene, you can actually skip it by regaining movement.
Exactly. Normally,
and that is what a successful wrong warp looks like. It's absurdly difficult, as if you want to do it without stopping, you have to actually open the menu frame perfectly. And so that's a 1/30th of a second window, as this is a 30 frames per second game.
Yeah, and it's also quite risky. Every time you see a punch card on warp, keep in mind that if you do not close the punch card on time when doing a wrong warp, you soft lock. That's a run killer, because essentially, anyway, we're gonna say hi to bye to Monster Kid here. Essentially, when you wrong warp with the punch card, if you do not close the punch card on time, you're gonna be in the next room, but you will still have the punch card open. And because you still have the punch card open, you cannot move. But because you're no longer in the same room as the punch card, you cannot close the punch card either. So you're just stuck there for the end of time. This room right here, if you hold up and down while moving right, you go at double speed for whatever reason. Very cool looking room, by the way. Right.
And now here we're going to introduce another trick known as an overflow. By pressing Z and Enter on consecutive frames, whilst opening the punch card, you can actually interact with an item in the... So the reason the punch card works is because it advances the game by 1 frame before it actually opens.
Right. And during that 1 frame, a lot of things can happen. For example, here, normally, this is a cutscene where spears are coming out of the ground. Normally, you wouldn't be able to move during the time, but because we punch carded past it, we can just gain a bit of a head start on the spears. And yeah, essentially, when you open the punch card, between the moment that you select the option to open it and the moment where it actually opens, there's 1 frame of delay, which is what you are saying. And so if, for example, during that 1 frame a cutscene starts, you can just close the punch card to be able to walk away during that cutscene. Here, by the way, the game tries to predict where you will be and to spawn spears where you will be. But that means that by holding down right here, you make the spears appear to your down right, which means you make the spears appear in the void, so the whole chase segment is a bit easier. Very important.
May
here,
I quickly jump in and
room,
make an announcement soon? Sorry.
Okay.
I just would like to mention, so we've just got a new milestone incentive that's opened up, and that is if we get the total amount raised to $6,225, that's around about $400 ahead of where we are now. If we get that reached, then we are going to be having a Deltarune Chapter 4 run as a bonus game at the end of the stream today after Donkey Kong. So that'd be so exciting if we could get that. If you're excited for Undertale, I'm sure you'll be excited about Deltarune too. So it'll be really fantastic
Absolutely.
if we could see that met.
I
I've
believe we
had a
can do it
couple
with
of
this deck.
donos come through. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Couple of dollars come through. We've got $10 come through from Dirtd12's mum. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciated. And $25 come through from Cat Poggers that says Dave. Thank you so much for both of those donos. Really appreciate it. And getting us ever closer to that milestone for Deltarune at the end of today, which would be really sick if we could see that.
Thank you, both of you. So here we have Mad Dummy. We are just going to be on Mad Dummy skip for a bit, one of the biggest glitches in the run. Basically, there's an invisible wall, so you can't just punch card past Mad Dummy. Instead, we have to do a bit of a more complex setup.
And that is it. So that trick is a frame perfect, and it skips the Mad Dummy fight. However, we can't just skip it with a normal PCE, as there is an invisible wall. So what we must do is get a glitch known as persistence by leaving the room on the same frame the fight begins. And by doing that, it tricks the game into thinking that the Mad Dummy fight has begun. However, it is really difficult as it is frame perfect. I use the punch card drop method as it gives a very distinct visual cue in when the punch card opens. However, there is a 20% chance that it gives me the wrong text and I have to adapt on the fly.
And would you look at that? Madam is gone. Oh, Clam Girl! So this NPC right here in the bottom right of the room only has a 10% chance of appearing. It's Clam Girl, and she actually mentions a character from Deltarune. Crazy. So I'm happy. I'm just happy. So basically, this game has a fun value, which gets set randomly at the beginning of the run, between 1 and 100, and depending on that value, some events may or may not happen. So to get Clam Girl, I believe the fun value has to be 80 something.
So coming up is a trick known as Flower Flow, where you can leverage the fact that the punch card temporarily can't be closed after you open it to begin the cutscene after interacting with the flower in the next room, and this allows you to retain movement during that cutscene, and you can be further over to the left when it ends and be ready to go up. It saves approximately 5 seconds.
Yeah, because you still need the cutscene to end in order to be able to progress in the run. But at least that way you're able to get a bit of a head start while it's going on. You wouldn't normally be able to move here, but we're able to do it thanks to the glitch.
And I have to use the cell in order to retain the movement.
Yeah, because there's a few moments where the game will take away your movement. So yeah, normally you would be in front of the flower, but because we did the glitch, we are on the left of the screen, so it looks like Undyne is just charging at the flower for absolutely no reason. Yeah, we're gonna have to wait until those two get out of the screen, and then we are able to continue on the path that will appear there. Perfect. So, a bit of punch card action there.
Oh, goddammit. Okay. So I have just missed a skip. This will cost me about 20 seconds. However, I was a pixel too early.
Yeah. Essentially, you could be able to use the punch card to skip this interaction with Monster Kids here. So you wouldn't have to deal with this dialogue, but instead we get to see them almost fall off. So we're gonna do the right thing here and just walk away without helping them. It's okay, and then we'll help them anyway. Speaking of Undyne, you can skip her entirely.
So that went by really quickly. There's a lot to unpack there. So essentially, you have to PCE 2 triggers into what's called an overflow wrong walk, and you have to do it all within a very short span of time. So essentially, the PCE is the one where you skip the cutscene, and then there is a second trigger further on. And so by skipping that then second one, Undyne's final text appears, and by opening the punch card on that text, you can actually use it to wrong walk into the next room to make it so that you only have to face one cycle of Undyne, as I'm doing here.
Yeah.
And by challenging her, I speed up her attacks.
Normally the way this fight works is you would have to fight Undyne for a while, run away, move a little bit, fight her again, run away again, and so on. However, here we can just run away, have a call from Papyrus here. Oh, hey Papyrus, how's it going? Okay, bye. And then that's it, we're already done with the Undyne fight. And we're entering Hotland, which is one of the more intense segments of the run, which is absolutely filled with punch card glitches.
I won't
By
be
the way,
showing
we'll-
off all of them, as the risk to a lot of them is incredibly high. However,
That's-
in core, I will be going all out.
That's true, that's true. So here you will see Dirtd trying to use the punch card to pick up some text of this in what's called, again, an overflow. Step on a cutscene trigger that would cause Alphys to appear here. Hi Alphys. And just walk away, because by closing the text, you are able to just walk away in a cutscene that you would normally not be able to do. We haven't killed anyone in the course of this run yet, so Dirtd is going to make sure to fix that issue.
The reason we kill
Okay.
Vulcan here is to get to Love 4, as that allows us to do more damage in Asgore and take less turns to kill him.
Yeah. Also, it was self-defense. Vulcan was clearly threatening you here, so it's justified. Here, we're gonna use the punch card on the vent to get out of bounds. And the reason why we're doing that is because... Oh. Also, you notice him inferring the punch card to regain movement. That's pretty advanced strat, it only saves like half a second. Here we pick up the Bound Pan, the best weapon in the game. We'll be using it once on... Well, we'll be using it on the final boss of the game. And it is quite a hard weapon to use, but we will get to there when we get there. In the meantime, let's get hit by those lasers on purpose in what's called Beowulf. So what we will do is close the first set of tech boxes here, but you will see that there's another set of tech boxes that exists, and that other set of tech boxes that I mentioned will reappear the next time that we're in a room with lasers, which will allow us to do glitch later on. For now, we're entering the cooking show cutscene here. I said that we're actually not going to do it. You will see Dirtd overflow an invisible object, well, an object that is there but you can see it, in order to then close that and move without the cutscenes ever continuing. However, we have started the cutscene with a cooking show, but we never finished it because we just moved past it, right? And what this means is that we cannot open our menu anymore, because normally you start the cutscene, you lose your ability to menu, then you finish the cutscene, and you are able to open your menu again. But since we never finish the cutscene, we never have our menu back. However, by going back at the very beginning of Hotland, precisely there, now we're able to use our menu again and use the punch card again. We'll be doing this 3 times during the run because there are multiple cutscenes that take away your menu. It takes a bit of time to go back at the beginning to get the menu back, but you kind of have to do that, and it's still much faster than the alternative. So this room has notification, but Toby actually forgot to extend the hitbox for the notification, so if you move at the bottom of the room, you don't actually encounter the notifications. Really funny. You might have noticed, by the way, that Dirtd got to 1 HP on purpose for the glitch that's coming up now. Oh yeah, volume warning, by the way. Right. Here there's a hard puzzle, so instead of doing it, we just skip it using the punch card. Another one into a glitch. You might know the runner Shay, definitely the most famous member of the community. And the following glitch, they actually found it in a dream. That's not a joke. They had a dream, and they saw this glitch right here. Essentially, using Alphys' portrait, you know exactly where to be to use the punch card in this room. It's called the serious skip, and it's one of the more complex parts of the run, but that was done flawlessly, so fast in fact that I couldn't even finish my explanation. That Dirtd was already done. And this glitch also requires you to be at 1 HP. Now we don't need to be at 1 HP anymore, so we can now interact with save points again, because interacting with save points heals you, and now we can take safety save again. There's no need to save, other than like making sure that if something goes wrong, you can reload. Dirtd normally wouldn't save if he was going for like PV attempts, but since this is a marathon, for safety, you will see him save a bit. None of those saves are absolutely required, but they make it much easier. By the way, he just went back again to the beginning of court to regain his menu after another cutscene that takes it away. Right, so here we have north-south skip, a fairly annoying skip, but ultimately, but again, done flawlessly. Basically, you use it to get out of bounds. That's cool, and so it saves, I think, like maybe a minute, because you don't have to solve the puzzles that would normally be required to progress. I heard there was supposed to be a boss in this room. I don't know where the boss went. Maybe Toby just forgot to add it. Ah well. It seems a bit weird to have this room which has no boss fights in it. Ah well.
Listen, we're coming up on a section of kind of emptiness. So if you want to read out if there's been any donations, we've got plenty of time right now.
Yeah, no, thank you. I just want to quickly mention that the donation coming through from Dirtd's mom earlier was going towards Princess Peach for Mario Kart, which puts Princess Peach in the lead right now. If I can just do an overall run through of the Mario Kart character choice, we have Princess Peach in the lead at $10. Next up, Goomba at $5, and then behind both of those, Cow and Yoshi at $2 a piece. So if you want to see any of those represented in MK World, get your donors in and tell me why. Or if you want to nominate a new character, you can do that too with a donation. So yeah, we got till the end of this run to choose the character for MK World. So yeah, let's see who people want to see in the run.
Also remember that we're waiting for the Deltarune Chapter 4 speedrun if we get high enough. With Deltarune, while Deltarune and Undertale are very closely related games, the speedrun is entirely different on a technical level, so I will definitely make sure to watch that. We only need $400 of donations, I think. And now we're coming up on Core, which is the most punch card heavy segment of the run. Basically, every room transition has a wrong warp in this. So it is the most instant segment. I'm not going to be able to go over everything that happens, but just remember that every room has a wrong warp into it. Basically, this elevator, there's an elevator in this room, but you can't access it yet. So there's a puzzle somewhere in Core that if you solve the puzzle, it will activate the elevator. So keep that in mind. Here, Dirtd skipped an encounter with magic, by the way.
Worth noting, the audio is broken. There's supposed to be a song in this section, but unfortunately, it is not working.
Oh yeah, that's a slight imprecision there. But in any case, here you skip the lasers minigame. And also opening the punch card again with text on screen, basically I can't explain you why, but it makes that text magical and you can use the text to warp into the next room. And here again, another safety save, because remember that every room warp has a small chance of soft locking you. Well, if you make a mistake anyway. So here we are gonna use the punch card to be able to move during this and equip the burn plan. And now a series of room warp known as Snowy Core, which essentially it would be normally super slow to go that way, but it just so happens that all of the room warps save a lot of time. So that was also a very quick core overall. Here we use the punch card to skip Metaton. That's the only time that Metaton is visible in this run, and it's only for like 2 seconds. Sorry to any Metaton fan, but yeah. So skipping Metaton, by the way, I think is the single biggest time save in the run. It's about 4 minutes. And here we're gonna punch card past Alphys, and she says, oh, wait, but we don't wait. Instead, we enter New Home, which is the a bit of a calmer area, but still has its fair share of glitches. So you can, by the way, you can hear the song here, Long Elevator, which is an actual song that is in the soundtrack. What you're hearing right now is the 70th song of the soundtrack, the 70th. Another safety save here. So this is the segment known as Monster Tale, where we have to pick up two keys to advance, and the monsters appear and tell us the tragic story of how the monsters and the humans came to be at war, and what happens to the human before you. Dirtd will here overflow and use this text when pick up the key to completely ignore another encounter with monsters. Normally here you would have another encounter with monsters telling you what would happen, but he just skipped it in a skip known as Magolor, which saves about, I think, 9 seconds.
Yeah, thereabout, yeah.
And we get to listen, by the way, to one of the best songs ever in general. Okay, so here we got both keys, and we can proceed onto the basement by unlocking this chain. You could absolutely go around this chain, by the way, but I guess it's more fun too. Dirtd here is going for a glitch known as a Mickey Gauntlet, which is essentially punch carding past every one of those encounters. It only saves a few frames per encounter, and there are very few visual cues. It's like, in terms of effort to actual time save, this is one of the least generous glitches in the game. But it's also not punishing at all. You can just go for it, and if you miss it, you only lose the time that you spent going for it. You don't. You wouldn't soft lock, or you wouldn't have to do a boss fight like you normally would with some other glitches. By the way, fun fact, in the version of the story that we're hearing, we are able to skip one of the encounters, as I said, which means that we never hear the part where the first human in the underground dies. Like, we never hear that part. As far as we're concerned, nobody died, and nobody has a reason to be sad or angry or anything in this in this version of the tale that we hear. So right here, there's a very long horizontal room. So Dirtd is going to try to get let's say a chain of punch card infos. So infoing the punch card is called the clover flow, and the goal is basically.
I didn't get it.
Yeah. If you don't start it at the very beginning of the run, it can. It becomes
not worth it. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the reason I was very quiet during those segments is because they are very intense. There is a lot to execute on, and all of it is incredibly high risk. Like, every single wrong look I do has the potential to soft lock and cost me a lot of time. However, the pace we are on is actually quite good. It looks like we are on roughly mid to high 54 pace, it looks like.
That's
which is a very good time.
Do I have time to jump in with a quick exciting announcement, if that's alright?
Go ahead.
So firstly, we have a $250 donation from Dirtd12 that says, "Go boy, thank you so much for that." And with that, it brings us to over $6,000 raised for the whole marathon, total sitting nice at $6,094. So huge well done to everyone for getting those donations in. Really fantastic raising that money for Point of Pride. And it puts us at, I'm maybe eyeballing this, but about $130-ish away from the Deltarune incentive at the end of the day as well. So yeah, really great work getting that in. Thank you so much for the donation, and for everyone who's been showing up with all the support today. Really appreciate it. And of course, it's going to help Point of Pride do a lot of amazing work. So thanks again.
Thanks, Mom and Dad, for the donations.
To the parents.
It means a lot.
Yeah. Okay, so here another safety save before, So here normally Sans would judge you for what you've done during this run. It's a very intense moment that lets you reflect on everything you've done throughout Undertale. So we skip it because we don't
now
have
it's
time
an
for
infamous combo of wrong warps known as Romboot Combo, which skips cutscenes, and I just got it flawlessly.
Absolutely. So here we have this guy that we've never seen before because we wrong warped past him before, but it's time for the Asgore fight. We've never seen him before, he's never seen us before, but let's fight. So this fight is the reason why we have picked up and equipped the Burn Pan, which, and this fight is also like the single hardest thing in the run, because essentially when you attack something with the Burn Pan, you will have 4 bars moving across your screen, and if you manage to hit enter when each bar is exactly on the center, if you get all 4 bars exactly on the center, it's called a quad. It's 4 frame perfect in a row. It's called a quad, and it lets you deal basically double damage. So the main deal about this fight is going to be getting as many of those perfect attacks as possible. And also not dying, but it's not really an issue at this level anymore. You see here, Dirtd got all 4 frame perfects, and it hits, it deals 340 damage, which is double what you would be doing otherwise. You see,
so we've gotten a miss, which means that we cannot get what is called Asgore. Every 2 misses, I lose an extra 10 seconds.
Yeah.
What you'd hope to do is get a Asgore, however, that is really difficult. It requires 36 consecutive frame perfects, and so it's quite unrealistic to expect that every time.
Yeah. And you can see that when he's not hitting a quad, he's dealing like only half the damage. And yeah, that you can really understand just that this fight is a pretty big, pretty brutal skill check really, because, even hitting a single quad is hard enough, and you need 9 of them in a row if you wish to get a perfect one. That doesn't happen much. Like, the world record gets one, but there's been times where even the world record would not get Asgore. Perfect Asgore. Yeah.
So currently the best we can get is an 11-10, as I've missed 3 times. I have an allowance of 1 more myth before I have to hit all of... Okay, so if I miss another one, I lose another turn, and so on and so forth.
By the way, you noticed Dirtd has not yet gotten hit by Asgore, so that's why I was saying that the difficulty does not come from Asgore's attack, but simply from having to hit frame perfect attack on Asgore. Also, I'm sorry if I commentator cursed you.
Yeah, you did.
That right after I point out that this is will not hit you, you get hit, but
okay. This is likely a 13 turn, unfortunately.
It's okay to 13 turns. I would be very happy if I got one, but Dirtd not so much, because
Like,
can get
runners
much
of,
better
like,
than
my
that.
level and, like, higher typically try to expect 11 turns for good times. And that is the Asgore fight.
Nice. By the way, 473 damage on the last one is really funny for reasons that I'm about to explain. Essentially, Asgore's last HP is fake. He doesn't actually have all that health. It's just there for dramatic effect so that when you deal your last hit, it's gonna deal a lot more damage. But the 470 last HP of Asgore, they're fake. They don't actually exist. Which means that, you know, if he has 471 HP left and you deal something that should only deal 1 damage, well, he's gonna deal 471 damage and you kill him anyway. And the fact that Dirtd just dealt 473 damage there means that Asgore only had 3 actual HP left, so we were very close to saving a turn there. But yeah. So here Flowey appears and he's like, haha, I'm evil. And he actually crashes your game, so you have to reopen it, and you get a quote-unquote corrupted version of Undertale where it's just you and Flowey. By the way, we might as well point out there's going to be a bit of flashing lights in the upcoming fight, especially near the very end of the run. So here we have Flowey. He's like really evil and everything, and he's like stole the soul of everyone. And he's doing the worst thing that any character in this game can do, which is to have a very long segment of unskippable text that you can only skip by pressing Z and enter. So here there's about a minute of listening to him talk about how happy he is to have stolen everyone's soul, because he was actually doing that in the background while we were messing around with the punch card.
So, yeah, this game, one thing worth noting, is really tiring on your arms. So
it is very...
my arms are very like specifically sections like these where I'm just mashing Z and Enter can get quite fatiguing. However, yeah. It's not that bad, and you kind of get used to it. This run is on pace to be a very high 54, it looks like, depending on how I do in Flowey, depending on reloads. So one thing worth noting is there are actually a few strats in Flowey, where, for example, you want to reload slightly early to skip a cutscene, or there's a quick kill, and there's a little bit of RNG in the mix as well, so it's not quite over yet. There's still quite a few things that can change.
Flow is so dramatic. Yeah. But yeah. There is obviously some things to talk about, but keep in mind that Flowey is a segment where it's not very hard to get very close to the best possible time, essentially.
Yeah.
So yeah, this whole segment here, you can't really do much to change how long it is, because the Flowey will just keep attacking you until he gets to the what we call the soul phases, right? By the way, this laser attack right here is pretty rare, so I just want to
I was gonna say we got the laser attack
right away too.
It is possible to get a combo of RNG that is borderline undodgeable if you get the laser and the flamethrowers at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh no, that was... Yeah, this fight, once you've played the game enough, this fight is relatively trivial. Alright, so in these, I'm going to wait for the knives to move. Since they've moved right, I know that the act button is going to be in the top right.
Yeah.
Depending on which way they move, follow the knives and you will find the act button.
Yep. This is a soul phase. There's going to be 6 of them in total. And
you actually can't die in a soul phase. Oh, yeah. You can't die in these soul phases. You can very much die in these phases, but... Like,
don't. I mean, avoid the attacks, right?
Yeah. But once you've got enough experience with this game, it starts to become relatively trivial, and at this point, it's kind of just... To be fair, though, the nerves you can get whilst on pace in a Mega Flowey have caused some runners to make some very silly mistakes.
That's also true. That's also true. But yeah, this is not the hardest segment of the run. It's meant, essentially, look at it from a casual perspective, the fight is meant to feel unfair and impossible to win, while also being actually very much possible to win.
Also, one thing I would like to mention, coming up on the purple soul phase, there is a community divide in the Undertale speedrun community. The act button can either come from the left or right, and the community is split up into factions as to whether you're left gang or right gang. And it is entirely a 50-50. Technically, if it comes from the left, it is a few frames slower than if it comes from the right. However, the phase after this one is left or right, and it's kind of a thing within the UTSR that you pick a side. And
Yeah.
I personally always go left,
Because you
whereas
like
everyone else
design.
always goes right. Me and TetraSpit stand alone together.
By the way, here you see how aggressive Dirtd12 was with acting with the right button. He was in the middle of Flurry's attack in order to get it as fast as possible. But again, the fact that you cannot die during the soul phases means that you go all in, right? You don't really care about avoiding that much. And yeah, overall, the whole fight is coded in such a way that it's hard, but it's not as hard as it looks. So yeah, just don't die basically. And here it looks like Dirtd12 has less than half his health left, but you could probably take 7 hits here and still be alive.
Right,
so we have
this is where we have left or right.
obviously right is going to happen because that's the objectively
It's
correct
gonna be
option.
on the left.
Right saves 2 frames though. You can see him going on the left in order to lose time here.
Right loses time.
No!
Left! Yes! Left gang, yes!
No, the run is bad now. The run is bad now.
Yeah, it is the most controversial topic you can bring up in Undertale speedrun community.
I wish it was.
Can I quickly jump in with a couple of donations? Is now a good time for
please.
that?
Yeah, now's
Thank
a good
you.
time.
We have $25 in from Zooch. Thank you very much for that. Zooch, one of our Counter-Strike showcase runners from before. And $75 in from Cat Pongers that says at Dirtd12, large pepperoni, medium Coke. Don't mess it up this time.
You've got to be
So
kidding me.
thank you
You've
for
got to
those
be
2
kidding me.
donations. And with that, we're now only about $31 away from hitting that Deltarune milestone, which is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, thank you for getting those donations in.
Context for anyone who doesn't understand, he's asking me for a pizza because, sorry, they are asking me for a pizza because, they just ask me every day to order them something from DoorDash. And
Yeah.
so
Well,
it's
they're
been a
not the
thing.
only
It's
one.
been a
Everyone
thing for
in the USA.
months, and it's never happened. I don't know why they still expect it to happen.
If I was to ask you, will you get me a vegan burger with
No.
fries and
No.
lemonade, please?
It's
No?
not happening.
What fries
Everyone
next
has tried their luck, and no one has succeeded. I'm not buying you guys stuff. It's not happening. Alright, so coming up now is the final soul phase, and we actually are going to be reloading the game in order to skip the cutscene where all the hearts heal you.
Yeah. Essentially, there's a very cool cutscene where all the hearts come out and help you defeat Flurry. It's a very big and intense moment, so we just skip it because we don't do that here. Instead, the moment that the gun starts shooting green, we reload the game. And yeah.
It
It's
will be
definitely-
displaying the wrong game instance for a split second, but it should be back to it in a second.
Great.
At the
So here you
end,
can
you
start
also
doing
do the
everything.
same thing, but for the sake of showing the timer ending, I will be closing the game instead of just opening another instance. That's 3.
Yeah.
Mom, could you
that's-
explain
that's
quick
what
kill
I'm
whilst I
doing.
count 4?
Right. So here we actually want to be counting the attacks because there's a few moments, especially how much damage you deal increases throughout the fight. And there's a few moments where we're gonna have the fight button available, but we just wait a tiny bit so that we press the fight button once our damage has increased. So the first one is gonna be right here. Yeah, you can see that Dirtd12
15.
is currently counting to know which attacks to delay. And you can see that he was waiting on the fight button for a bit, knowing that his attack was about to increase. And this allows us to do what's known as quick kill, so saving 1 turn on Flurry, which is only about 5 seconds, but since it's at the very, very end of a run and it's really not that hard, it's quite a big thing. For some reason, there's some runners that are really good at this game but still don't do quick kill. I'm not here to point anything else, but yeah. This part can be very stressful as well because you're gonna be pretty low on health for most of the fight. Usually you don't die because as you can see you keep getting healing, but since in the speedrun you want to always be on the fight button, sometimes you have to tank a few hits.
And that is
And
quick
that's it.
kill.
Yep. 36
And that is
attacks.
pretty much all of the skill gone. Now all that's left to do is a few reloads of the game, and then the run will be over.
So here Flo is like, haha, you thought you had defeated me, but I had another save file that I'm now reloading to kill you. and kill you again and again and again. He does it, I think, 30 something times. Very rude, if I may add. Right. Here
By
he's going.
sitting right on the friendliness pellets, the second Omega Flowey tries to kill you after you act, you will immediately trigger them, and then it will essentially end the cutscene, kind of like what we did right at the beginning of the game, where we got hit by friendliness pellets to cut it short.
Yep. And yeah. So
And timing will end when we touch the final door in the game.
Yeah. By the way, so here Flo realizes, wait, what's going on? And he realizes that the human souls that he's been using to fight you the whole time have turned on him and are now helping you, which is very nice of them. Thank you, human souls.
This text is completely auto-scrolling, by the way. I don't have to do anything. It just scrolls.
Yeah, you don't even have to press 0 enter here. No, you can do that.
I'm not going to be doing the first reload, as it saves minimal time and it's a little bit risky.
Yeah. So there's a few moments here where you could reload to save time, but he's only going to be doing one. So here we're going to be in front of Louis. You have the choice between sparing him and killing him. Sparing is the morally correct thing to do, but since killing him is faster, that's what we're doing. Also, honestly, it's kind of just fine in self-defense, considering that he's killed you multiple times. You can just reload the game now,
right,
walk past him, and
that's time.
And that's Undertale neutral done.
Yeah.
Right.
54,
GG's,
56.
thank you.
Final time.
54, 56? That's 2 seconds better than my PB. Not matter.
That run was whilst a few things that I could have ironed out, I'm very happy with how that went personally.
That was very good. I think the worst thing was like the monster hit bridge cutscene, which is like 20 seconds. So really, a lot of things that could have gone wrong did not. Which is cool because it maybe gives us a little bit more time to showcase a couple glitches, including the one that we mentioned that we were not able to do. But by the way, funny enough, here you get a phone call in every new ending. You get a phone call, and in this one, Sense will mention that you're still wearing the bandage that you've been wearing since the beginning of the run. Very funny.
Yeah, good luck trying to read it.
Yeah. You need to be good at speedrunning for the purposes of this game.
Yeah, and then it just brings you back to the title screen, basically.
Yeah. By the way, you are now in a new game plus state, which means since we killed Flowey, if we do another run now, which we are not going to do for obvious reasons, but if we were to do that, we wouldn't have to fight Flowey again. So if you ever find yourself speedrunning this game and you find out that that you just saved over 10 minutes, you were probably in a new game plus state.
New game is the only way that Undertale has actually been beaten blindfolded. Fun fact.
Yeah, I wonder who did that. Dirtd did it, by the way.
And that is the run. I hope everyone enjoyed.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you both so much for coming along and showcasing that. That was really great. Yeah, and thanks again for everyone watching along and donating. Yeah, I don't know loads about the Undertale speedrun, but a lot of action in chat, getting really excited about the pace.
Yeah.
So I could tell from that was a bit of an exciting run. A very nice thing to be able to show off on the stream for us. So yeah, thanks so much to you both. But yeah, do either of you have anything you'd like to shout out or mention now that we finished the run?
Just shout out to the Undertale community in general. It's one of the most welcoming speedrunning communities I've ever been a part of. Very tightly knit. I've recently been able to break into the top 10, and I wouldn't have been able to do that without the community by my side. Everyone's so supportive, and it's awesome I'm glad to be a part of that group.
I agree. I would probably have stopped doing this after a week if it wasn't for the fact that it's a really great community, and for reasons I'm not really sure of, the community has also been growing a lot recently. A lot of people have been getting much better at the game. We've had a new generation of runners, including, of course, Dirtd and some of the people who were in chat as well, who have just been getting really good and pushing the boundaries of this game. So it's quite impressive, yeah. Shout out especially to everyone who's been working on finding strats for this game. And it's a continuous process, and I wouldn't be surprised if there were still some skips to figure out. Or maybe this is just solved as a speed game, who knows.
Right. Yeah, thank you so much. That was really great. Just for those of you watching at home, I believe we are about to go through a restreamer changeover now. So the stream is going to drop out for just a split second and then be back. So yeah, don't go anywhere. Don't worry about it. That's all planned. And then once we're back into the intermission, we'll be able to have a talk about what's coming up next. First of all, I think Mario Kart. And yeah, just a quick plug, we do have the Mario Kart character bid closing at the start of that run. I think currently Princess Peach is in the lead. So now's your last chance to get any further donors in towards that character choice if you wish to. But yeah, thanks very much again,
Yoshi
both
can
of you,
still
for
win.
coming along
Remember to
for this
donate.
showcase. Here's how Yoshi can still win. $9
how.
towards it. There we go.
Even-
Right. Thank you both.
Thanks
yeah,
so
really
much.
appreciate you coming along for this.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for letting do Undertale here. And good luck to the next runners.
Yeah, good luck to everyone else. It's been an awesome event.